HomeTheaterJoe.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about those home theater mistakes. Now, as you can see, I've removed the grills from these speakers, and, well, there's a couple of problems here right off the bat. So, if you have noticed, these end walls, these speakers, are upside down. The thought being there, originally they were the right side up, but I learned a little more about the sound environment, the room, how you're supposed to do things. So I tried to achieve the tweeters being closer to each other. So here is one big problem with the way I've set up. All three of these speakers, the left, center, and right speaker, should be on the same line, on the same plane. The tweeters should line up, okay? So for me, that was a big problem. Also, let's just move into another problem here. If you can tell, this is a 77-inch C10, and if we take a look at our wall here, okay, from beginning to end, you will see we don't have much real estate to work with. So another problem that has developed, or that is the causation of another problem, I would say, between the left, center, and right channels, and that being not enough separation. There is separation. It does work. It should be better. But if we take a look over here, this is the end of a wall. There's a hallway going down here. So that's one of the things that I always want to talk about is we work with what we're given. We knew that this pretty much had to be or needed to be the display wall, okay? There's a closet right behind this wall that housed everything inside of it. So thus we have totally achieved this no wires look, which I love and just can't talk enough about, as well as the black paint that we did on the wall was a huge, good move for the home theater. So let's get back to the problem with the separation. There is separation, it should be more. I believe the left and right speaker here should be at least another foot or two off the side of the display, giving us a little bit more room and separation. But again, we work with what we're given. This wall is not big enough for that much separation. And of course, when you get to a corner of a wall, you're gonna have all kinds of thicker obstructions. You're gonna have 2x4s stacked together on both sides. So listen, there's just gonna be more to work around. One thing to note that when I did install these speakers, 2 out of the 3 of them, they had cross members, I believe they called fire block in between the studs. So those had to come out. And believe you me, that was a very difficult job in taking those fire blocks out in this little bitty hole. I digress. It was doable though, and it was done without ripping apart all the drywall. So to sum it up on this front wall here, the tweeters are not in line with each other, as to say they're not level with each other. So I think that's an issue. The separation between the left, right, center is, in my mind, an issue. But again, let's draw to the fact that we're working with what we're given. Now, while we're up here at the front stage, I also want to put into play these 2 height channels. Now, this might not be a great angle or view for you, but believe you me, there is a height channel here and a height channel here. Yeah, you may say, HomeTheaterJoe, what's the problem with that? Well, I'll tell you the problem. These speakers are so close to the front wall of the speakers that they just kind of are muddy. And it's only certain films, like maybe Pacific Rim, the first Pacific Rim, they highlight the overheads pretty well in that film. Otherwise, yes, you can tell, I can tell that they're working in this home theater, but they do get lost in the shuffle, in the mix, if you will, with the front soundstage. So if I could make a recommendation or say anything to anybody, because I placed these speakers basically off of what the Yamaha diagram wanted me to do for the TSR 700. Big mistake, okay? Do not, this is just my experience, so take that for what it's worth, a little grain of salt there. I'm just a going floor guy from Virginia. I would take these front height speakers and I would move them much closer to the sitting position, the desired sitting position. We know from our great friends like the Home Theater Gurus, awesome channel. Shout out to my man. You guys, you gotta watch this stuff. He talks all the time about being within tolerance, and that is usually degrees, like 30 or 40 degrees. Anyway, just go check him out for all that great stuff. Also, that home theater dude, they do some great work. So I think they would probably say what I'm telling you about my home theater here, that these front height channels were way too far away from the main listening position, or however you want to say that. So just in looking at the front wall, those are the kind of problems and solutions that we kind of had to come up with. Let me show you another issue here. I was scared to death of the front door. I'm not sure if that's in here, but let's take a look at these pins here on the front door. So obviously you only really need one, but I put 3 on all of these pins. We recently took one out. There is also a door stopper. You cannot see this, but I drilled it into the floor. There is several layers of protection for this door to open. Okay, and there's the chalkboard paint. Chalkboard paint, so we can write whatever we want to do. Anyway, so this door can open, and now it's saying to stop, but there's also hinge hangers there that shouldn't let it get to the door stop. But guys, if you're gonna have to work with your space like we did, you got to figure out that door, because the last thing you want is somebody kicking open that door because they got hands full, whatever. I seen it happen. Not gonna happen here. All right, anyway, so I think we can kind of wrap up. That's the front sound stage, y'all. That's not the other areas of the home, but I thought that was a really interesting thing that I needed to kind of go over and talk about, if for nothing else, to make me better at the next home theater. So yeah, like, hey, if you guys have any, actually, I should say this, I'll get to the back of everything, in a different little mix-up. So if you have any questions or comments, good, bad, or indifferent, you can go ahead and stick them right down there below. They are greatly encouraged and greatly appreciated. Yeah. Okay, we can wrap a little bow on this one now. Maybe a medium-sized little bow. As always, thank you for listening. Be good. Be safe. Boom. Boom. Boom.